British Columbia is the westernmost province of Canada, with a population of more than 4 million people located between the Pacific Ocean and the Rocky Mountains. British Columbia is also a component of the Pacific Northwest and the Cascadia bioregion, along with the U.S. states of Idaho, Oregon, Washington and Alaska. The province's name was chosen in 1858 by members of the Hudson's Bay Company. The first British settlement in the area was the colony of British Columbia, the first lieutenant governor of which, from 1858 to 1863, was Richard Clement Moody, who was hand-picked by the Colonial Office in London to transform British Columbia into the British Empire's bulwark in the farthest west, and to found a second England on the shores of the Pacific. Moody selected the site for and founded the original capital of British Columbia, New Westminster, and established the Caribou Road and Stanley Park. Port Moody is named after him. In 1871, British Columbia became the 6th province of Canada. Its Latin motto is Splendor Sine Cage. The capital of British Columbia is Victoria, the 15th largest metropolitan region in Canada, named for the Queen who created the colony of British Columbia. The largest city is Vancouver, the 3rd largest metropolitan area in Canada, the largest in Western Canada, and the 2nd largest in the Pacific Northwest. In October 2013, British Columbia had an estimated population of 4,606,371. The province is currently governed by the BC Liberal Party, led by Premier Christy Clark, who became leader as a result of a leadership convention vote on February 26, 2011, and who led her party to an election victory on May 14, 2013. British Columbia evolved from British possessions that were established in what is now British Columbia by 1871. First Nations. The original inhabitants of the land have a history of at least 10,000 years in the area. Today there are few treaties and the question of Aboriginal title, long ignored, has become a legal and political question of frequent debate as a result of recent court actions. Notably, the Silkuan Nation has established Aboriginal title to a portion of the territory. As a result of the recent Supreme Court of Canada decision, BC's economy is diverse, with service-producing industries accounting for the largest portion of the province's GDP. It is the end point of transcontinental railways and the site of major Pacific ports that enable international trade. Though less than 5% of its vast 944,735 square kilometers land is arable, the province is agriculturally rich. Because of milder weather near the coast and in certain sheltered southern valleys, its climate encourages outdoor recreation and tourism, though its economic mainstay has long been resource extraction, principally logging, farming, and mining. Vancouver, the province's largest city and metropolitan area, also serves as the headquarters of many Western-based natural resource companies. It also benefits from a strong housing market and a per capita income well above the national average. While the coast of British Columbia and certain valleys in the south-central part of the province have mild weather, the majority of its land mass experiences a cold winter temperate climate similar to that of the rest of Canada. The northern interior region has a subarctic climate with very cold winters. The climate of Vancouver is by far the mildest winter climate of the major Canadian cities, with nighttime January temperatures averaging above the freezing point. Etymology. The province's name was chosen by Queen Victoria when the colony of British Columbia, i.e., the mainland, became a British colony in 1858. It refers to the Columbia District, the British name for the territory drained by the Columbia River in southeastern British Columbia, which was the namesake of the pre-Oregon Treaty Columbia Department of the Hudson's Bay Company. Queen Victoria chose British Columbia to distinguish what was the British sector of the Columbia District from that of the United States, which became the Oregon Territory on August 8, 1848, as a result of the treaty. Geography. British Columbia is bordered by the Pacific Ocean on the west side, by the American state of Alaska to the northwest and parts of the west, on the north by Yukon and the Northwest Territories, on the east by the province of Alberta, and on the south by the states of Washington, Idaho, and Montana. The current southern border of British Columbia was established by the 1846 Oregon Treaty, although its history is tied with lands as far south as California. British Columbia's land area is 944,735 square kilometers. British Columbia's rugged coastline stretches for more than 27,000 kilometers, and includes deep, mountainous fjords and about 6,000 islands, most of which are uninhabited. It is the only province in Canada that borders the Pacific Ocean. British Columbia's capital is Victoria, located at the southeastern tip of Vancouver Island. Only a narrow strip of the island, from Campbell River to Victoria, is significantly populated. Much of the western part of Vancouver Island and the rest of the coast is covered by thick, tall and sometimes impenetrable temperate rainforest. The province's most populous city is Vancouver, which is located at the confluence of the Fraser River and Georgia Strait, in the southwest corner of the mainland. By land area, Abbotsford is the largest city. The Vanderhoof is near the geographic center of the province. The coast mountains and the Inside Passage's many inlets provide some of British Columbia's renowned and spectacular scenery, which forms the backdrop and context for a growing outdoor adventure and ecotourism industry. 75% of the province is mountainous above sea level, 60% is forested, and only about 5% is arable. The province's mainland away from the coastal regions is somewhat moderated by the Pacific Ocean. Terrain ranges from dry inland forests and semi-arid in numerous valleys, to the range and canyon districts of the central and southern interior, to boreal forest and subarctic prairie in the northern interior. The Okanagan area, extending from near Vernon to Osawuse, at the United States border, is one of several wine and cider producing regions in Canada. Other wine regions in British Columbia include the Cowichan Valley on Vancouver Island and the Fraser Valley. The southern interior cities of Kamloops and Penticton have some of the warmest and longest summer climates in Canada, although the temperatures can be exceeded north of the Fraser Canyon, close to the confluence of the Fraser and Thompson rivers, where the terrain is rugged and covered with desert-type flora. Semi-desert grassland is found in large areas of the interior plateau, with land uses ranging from ranching at lower altitudes to forestry at higher ones. The northern, mostly mountainous two-thirds of the province are largely unpopulated and undeveloped, except for the area east of the Rockies, where the Peace River District, in the northeast of the province, contains BC's portion of the Canadian prairies, centered at Dawson Creek. Climate with origins from the Kuroshio Current, which merges into the North Pacific Ocean Drift Current, giving coastal British Columbia its mild, rainy oceanic climate, verging on dry summer Mediterranean, subtropical in small pockets, due to the blocking presence of successive mountain ranges. The climate of the interior of the province is semi-arid, with certain locations receiving less than 250 millimeters in annual precipitation. The annual mean temperature in the most populated areas of the province is up to 12 degrees Celsius, the mildest anywhere in Canada. The valleys of the southern interior have short winters with only brief bouts of cold or infrequent heavy snow, while those in the Caribou, in the central interior, are colder because of increased altitude and latitude, but without the intensity or duration experienced experienced at similar latitudes elsewhere in Canada. For example, the average daily low in Prince George in January is -12 degrees Celsius. Heavy snowfall occurs in all elevated mountainous terrain, providing bases for skiers in both South and Central BC. Winters are generally severe in the northern interior, but even the milder air can penetrate far inland. The coldest temperature in British Columbia was recorded in Smith River, where it dropped to -58.9 degrees Celsius, one of the coldest readings recorded anywhere in North America. Atlin in the province's far northwest, along with the adjoining Southern Lakes region of Yukon, get midwinter thaws caused by the Chinook effect, which is also common in more southerly parts of the interior. During winter on the coast, rainfall, sometimes relentless heavy rain, dominates because of consistent barrages of cyclonic low-pressure systems from the North Pacific. Average snowfall on the coast during an average winter is between 25 to 50 centimeters, but on occasion heavy snowfalls with more than 20 centimeters and well below freezing temperatures arrive when modified Arctic air reaches coastal areas, typically for short periods, but can still take temperatures below -10 degrees Celsius even at sea level, and Arctic outflow winds can make wind chill temperatures at or even below -17.8 degrees Celsius for a couple of mornings. While winters are very wet, coastal areas are generally milder and dry during summer under the influence of stable anticyclonic high pressure. Southern interior valleys are hot in summer. For example, in Osceola, the July maximum temperature averages 31.7 degrees Celsius, the hottest month of any place in Canada. This hot weather sometimes spreads towards the coast to the far north of the province. Temperatures often exceed 40 degrees Celsius in the lower elevations of valleys in the interior during midsummer, with the record high of 44.4 degrees Celsius being held in Lytton on July 16, 1941. The extended summer dryness often creates conditions that spark forest fires, from dry lightning and man-made causes. Many areas of the province are often covered by a blanket of heavy cloud and low fog during the winter months. In contrast to abundant summer sunshine, annual sunshine hours vary from 2,200 near Cranbrook and Victoria to less than 1,300 in Prince Rupert, located on the north coast, just south of the Alaska Panhandle. The exception to British Columbia's wet and cloudy winters is El Niño. During this phase, the jet stream is much further south across North America. Therefore, winters are milder and drier than normal. Winters are much wetter and cooler under the opposite phase, La Niña. Parks and protected areas. There are 14 designations of parks and protected areas in the province that reflects the different administration and creation of these areas in a modern context. There are 141 ecological reserves, 35 provincial marine parks, 7 provincial heritage sites, 6 national historic sites of Canada, 4 national parks and 3 national park reserves. 12.5% of British Columbia is currently considered protected under one of the 14 different designations that includes over 800 distinct areas. British Columbia contains 7 of Canada's national parks: Glacier National Park, Gulf Islands National Park Reserve, Guayana's National Park Reserve and Haida Heritage Site, Kootenay National Park, Mount Revelstoke National Park, Pacific Rim National Park Reserve, Yoho National Park. British Columbia also contains a large network of provincial parks run by BC Parks under the aegis of the Ministry of Environment. British Columbia's provincial parks system is the second largest parks system in Canada. Another tier of parks in British Columbia are regional parks, which are maintained and run by regional districts. In addition to these areas, over 47,000 square kilometers of arable land are protected by the Agricultural Land Reserve. Fauna: much of the province is wild or semi-wild, so that populations of many mammalian species that have become rare in much of the United States still flourish in British Columbia. Watching animals of various sorts, including a very wide range of birds, has also long been popular. Bears live here, as do deer, elk, moose, caribou, bighorn sheep, mountain goats, marmots, beavers, muskrats, coyotes, wolves, mustelids, cougars, eagles, ospreys, herons, Canada geese, swans, loons, hawks, owls, ravens, harlequin ducks, and many other sorts of ducks. Smaller birds also abound. Healthy populations of many sorts of fish are found in the waters. Besides salmon and trout, sport fishes in B.C. also catch halibut, steelhead, bass, and sturgeon. On the coastlines, harbor seals and river otters are common. Cetacean species native to the coast include the orca, gray whale, harbor porpoise, Dall's porpoise, Pacific white-sided dolphin, and minke whale. British Columbian introduced species include common dandelion, ring-necked pheasant, Pacific oyster, brown trout, black slug, European starling, cowbird, knapweed, bullfrog, purple loosestrife, Scotch broom, Himalayan blackberry, European earwig, tent caterpillar, soapbug, grey squirrel, Asian longhorn beetle, English ivy, fallow deer, thistle, gorse, Norway rat, crested myna, and Asian European gypsy moth. Some endangered species in British Columbia are Vancouver Island marmot, spotted owl, American white pelican, and badgers. Forests: white spruce or Engelmann spruce and the hybrids occur in 12 of the 14 biogeoclimatic zones of British Columbia. Some common types of trees that grow wild in BC's forests are varieties of pine, fir, cedar, birch, hemlock, maple, and spruce. Traditional plant foods. Plant foods traditionally contributed only a part of the total food intake of coastal First Nations peoples of British Columbia, though they contributed to most of the material good produced. Among the plant foods used, berries, some roots, cambium noodles, and seaweeds were important. Animal products were traditionally far more important than plant foods in terms of quantity consumed. However, the huge nutritional diversity provided by native plants of BC largely contributes to the health of First Nations peoples of British Columbia. Ecozones environment. Canada subdivides British Columbia into 6 ecozones: Pacific Marine, Pacific Maritime, Boreal Cordillera, Montane Cordillera, Taiga Plains, Boreal Plains ecozones.